President Trump is facing outrage for a lot of things, but now his response to the death of former FBI Director and Special Counsel Robert Mueller, who led the inquiry into Trump and Russia's interference in the 2016 election. Mueller died Friday at the age of 81. Trump wrote in a Truth Social post, quote, "Robert Mueller just died. Good. I'm glad he's dead. He can no longer hurt innocent people." Joining us now, Democratic Congressman Suhas Subramanian of Virginia. He also serves on the House Oversight Committee. I imagine that you, like most of us, are never surprised when Donald Trump does something like this. We saw how he reacted to Rob Reiner and the murder of Rob Reiner and his wife in their home. We hear how he talks about anyone who he doesn't like, even after they pass away, no matter how much service they've given to this country or how much they've brought to the world. When you see that, are you still shocked? Why should Americans care? What is your reaction?
You know, I've got a 6- and 4-year-old at home, and I teach them to see the humanity in other people. And then the president of the United States goes out and says that, right? And then you look at the way they reacted when Charlie Kirk passed away. You know, we were all, sending our condolences. We were all saddened too. And then they said we were insensitive, right? And so we have to get past this. The president is acting very inappropriately. This is par for the course. But we have to get past this and see the humanity in our political opponents, even when you disagree with them.
Yeah. I'm just going to reserve my comments about the president and this latest offense. Let's talk about Senator Markwayne Mullin and his nomination to be the Secretary of Homeland Security. And he was asked, this was on Wednesday, asked if he'd break the law if Trump asked. Watch this.
If directed by the president to take an action that would break the law, would you follow the law or follow the president's direction?
To answer your question, the president would never ask me to do that.
I know since you are in the House, you will not have you do not have a vote in the big vote that's probably going to come tomorrow that will probably confirm Mullin as Secretary of DHS. But what do you make of his answer, and how concerned are you that he very well could be the next Secretary of Homeland Security? Do you think anything will change?
That answer alone is disqualifying. That answer alone is why senators should vote against this confirmation, because this Department of Homeland Security over and over again has been asked to told things that were illegal. Remember shipping people to El Salvador without any due process. Now they're looking at sending ICE agents to voting locations to dissuade people they don't like from voting. Right, that's the type of thing he's going to be asked to do. And in those moments, he has to say no. This administration is following the president's orders, and they are illegally doing things like that. And we have to stop that.
Or his threat to send ICE agents to airports as early as tomorrow if Democrats don't vote to reopen DHS.
Or target blue cities. And we can go on and on. All the illegal things that DHS has been asked to do by this president in the White House, he needs to be able to say no, and he's not willing to, it looks like.
Congressman, I want to turn to a different topic of oversight, and actually not the Epstein files, but the overlooked Jared Kushner business dealing issue. The New York Times reported this week that a pair of senior Democratic lawmakers on Thursday demanded answers from the White House about efforts by Jared Kushner to raise billions of dollars from Middle Eastern governments for his private equity fund, while also serving as an envoy in the region for the Trump administration. There were letters that were sent by Congressman Robert Garcia and Senator Ron Wyden to the White House about Kushner and their concerns. In all of my reporting in the past few weeks about sort of process within this White House, the most consistent thing that has come up with former and current NSC officials is the fact that it is a very top-down approach. There is a very small pool of advisors who are actually dealing with a lot of these sensitive Middle East issues, specifically the war on Iran. That is Marco Rubio, Jared Kushner, and Steve Witkoff, and that people inside the White House, mostly the president, are in constant contact with them when it comes to making decisions. That, to me, seems even more alarming now that Kushner is simultaneously doing business dealings. What else does oversight know about the track record of Kushner over the past year, right? Because we started this administration thinking that he was largely going to be MIA.
Yeah, our foreign policy is for sale.
Because he's not, sorry, not to interrupt you, but that's because he's not getting paid by the American people. He is not an employee of this government.
That's right, yeah, but our foreign policy is for sale. And if you just send money to the Trump family, you send money to Trump's allies, you can buy our foreign policy. That's what I've been coming away with over this past year and a half. They're so brazen and openly doing it. They're not even hiding it that well. And this Congress is not investigating it enough. I think in a Democratic majority, this is one of the first things we need to focus on, is actually making sure that there wasn't any foreign policy for sale, that all these transactions, what happened, who paid who, even the cryptocurrency transactions. I want to know more about how they're paying the Trump family through that. But this is absolutely something that's not being reported enough. It's something that we need to be talking about more as we go on with this.
There's a long list of things if Democrats take the gavels in January, post this election, that you guys are going to have to focus on. What is for you, not for the committee, but when you guys sit down if you win in November and Robert Garcia says, Suhas, tell me what is the first thing you want us to investigate? What is that? What is that thing?
Well, our focus is going to be making sure life is better for the American people. And so, the economy, rising costs, the cost of health care. But these things are not
your
separate.
oversight focus. Sorry.
These things are not separate from our oversight focus, because if what's happening is we're doing things abroad that are hurting Americans back here, if we're spending money abroad, cutting programs back here to spend on things happening abroad or to enrich the Trump family, then that is a huge problem for the American people. They need to know the corruption that's happening in this administration, and that's affecting their everyday lives.
So it's the investigation into the self-dealing of the Trump family.
Every single agency right now has corruption up and down, and we need to know everything that's happening. We need answers. And this oversight committee, the Republicans, have been running interference for the Trump administration for too long now, and they need to stop. And so if we have the gavel, we are going to do the investigations that they should have been doing all along.
Is there any plan right now to force this administration to come and conduct public hearings about the war going on?
We want to. Again, it's really up to the Republicans to subpoena and to conduct these investigations.
But are there any procedural workarounds for Democrats to actually force that?
We're going to try to do some of the work on our own as best we can, and we're certainly going to set ourselves up for a position when we do have the subpoena power to do that. But certainly, we shouldn't wait until November. We shouldn't wait for a hopeful win in the midterms to start investigating and start doing everything we can now.
Congressman Suhas Subramanian, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.